Back with Midcap Masala, and let's just focus, get into conversation with the management of STL or Sterlite Tech. That's Mr. Ankit Agarwal, the MD at STL, joining us on the show on the back of their Q3 earnings. Mr. Agarwal, thanks so much for your time. Post the Q3 performance, by when do you expect profitability to stabilize at a sustainable level? What's the outlook here?
So I think if you look at the numbers, we're very positive in terms of the market demand, the interest from the data center companies as well as telecom operators. We're very focused on serving the needs, particularly in Europe and US, where we're seeing the demand for our innovative products on the cable and connectivity. So certainly we see this demand continue to grow in the coming quarters, and that's also reflecting in our order book that we have. We also have signed over 500 crores of orders just specifically from the data center and hyperscale segment, which is now leading us to more than 20% of our sales coming from the enterprise side. So all of this is setting us up well for this current quarter as well as the future quarters. I think a critical element certainly will be in terms of how we can reduce the impact of tariff, which will ensure that we move closer to the 20% EBITDA as we go forward.
All right. But Mr. Agarwal, can the data center orders become a meaningful contributor to your revenues in the upcoming financial year?
Yes, absolutely. I think if you look at the data center spend itself, the large 4 or 5 hyperscalers, they're looking at anywhere between $500 to $600 billion of investment just in the current year, and that's only expected to go upwards towards almost $1 trillion. So massive amount of investment coming from companies which have very strong balance sheets. And I think the second order effect of other companies that are also building out the fiber infrastructure to support these hyperscalers is also something that's very exciting. Again, particularly in US and Europe. And of course, India as well will start building out a very large data center over the next 3 to 5 years. So I think this is a good place for us. Currently, 20% of our revenue comes from this data center and enterprise segment. And we believe that in the near term, probably 12 to 18 months, almost 30% of our revenue can come from this segment.
Okay. And Mr. Agarwal, help us understand what is the typical deal size and execution timeline for data center projects versus the telecom projects at present?
So these are good size deals for the company. We're quite excited because typically you are co-developing products with them. So there's a good partnership format in which we operate. And typically, as I said, these operators, data center operators, are looking to build out the networks over the next 3 to 5 years. So as long as we are executing on our commitments, creating new solutions for them, I think we are quite confident that these can be fairly healthy and long-term contracts for STL.
Okay, so that sounds optimistic. Mr. Agarwal, talk to us about your margins. What would be the upside here on the back of the India-EU trade agreement? What kind of synergies are you expecting to see in your business?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic agreement for the country. I think tremendous credit to our Honorable Prime Minister, Piyush ji, as well as Jaishankar ji in making this happen. A lot of effort would have gone in. And I think it's great for the country and also for our sector. STL has already been a significant player in Europe in terms of optical fiber, cable, and connectivity. But this will further support us, encourage us to partner with the telecom operators, data center companies in that area and see how we can co-create, co-innovate, and further help build a robust digital infrastructure both in Europe as well as in India. So we're pretty excited. I think this should lead to further demand growth for our solutions in the European Union.
Okay, and lastly, Mr. Agarwal, while I have you and the union budget is just around the corner, I have to ask you, what specific policy support are you expecting to hear from the union budget this time for, let's say, optical fiber, broadband rollout, data infrastructure? What kind of announcements are you expecting?
Yes, absolutely. I think the government has embarked on a massive project in terms of BharatNet Phase 3. That's already underway, and I think continued financial support and investment for that is expected. As a company which is heavily invested in R&D with almost 800 patents, we're looking for support from the government to encourage such R&D investments going forward. We're also looking to look to scale up our capacities on cable and connectivity. So any support from the government, from the PLI side, to encourage high-tech manufacturing like this, I think will be very positive. And then ultimately, in terms of export incentives to encourage companies like ours to export to Europe and US, I think will also be very, very helpful.
Okay, so lots to watch out for in terms of the union budget, and we are also going to be eyeing that very closely. Mr. Agarwal, thanks so much for your time today. On that note, we'll let you go. So viewers, with that, we'll wrap down this edition of Midcap Masala. It's been a power pack show for you, but stay on because Buy Now, Sell Now takes all the action ahead.